We had no shortage of news this week, so let's jump in.
I'm Juliana Stratton. I'm so proud to serve as your Lieutenant Governor, and I am humbled and honored to stand before you tonight as your Democratic nominee for the United States Senate.
Illinois had a huge week in politics as Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton won the Democratic primary for Senate and will head to the general election in November. Stratton will replace Senator Dick Durbin, who is retiring after 30 years in office. She will face Republican Don Tracy, former chair of the Illinois Republican Party, in November. If elected, Stratton would become the 6th Black woman to serve in the U.S. Senate, and for the first time ever, 3 Black women would serve simultaneously. In heavily Democratic Illinois, she is widely considered the favorite. Rising energy costs, fears of inflation, and the conflict in Iran have created a perfect storm, pushing mortgage rates to their highest level in nearly 4 months. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate rose to 6.22% this week, up from 6.11% the week prior. The war has strained global energy supplies, raised oil prices, and fueled uncertainty in financial markets. Jet fuel prices and airfares are also on the rise, tied to the war in the Middle East. The travel demand remains strong, but airports are facing a growing crisis. TSA officers are working without pay, and callouts are surging. Over a third of screeners at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport did not show up Tuesday, causing 2-hour wait times. At least 366 officers have resigned since the DHS shutdown began in February, and officials warn some smaller airports could face closure. With Congress heading into recess, a resolution before the 60-day mark looks uncertain. Senator Rand Paul exchanged sharp words with Trump's Homeland Security pick, Senator Markwayne Mullin, during a Senate committee hearing. Paul called Mullin a liar with anger issues who lacks the temperament to lead DHS. The committee voted to advance Mullin's nomination 8-7, mostly along party lines. Unsurprisingly, Paul voted no, while Senator John Fetterman crossed the aisle to vote yes. The nomination now heads to the full Senate for a final confirmation vote. As a first step in its dismantling, the Department of Education handed over a portion of its student loan portfolio to the Treasury Department. Under the agreement, Treasury will now manage the roughly 9 million borrowers who are currently in default, about $180 billion of the government's $1.7 trillion student loan portfolio. It is the first of the 3 planned phases, with Treasury eventually set to take over all federal student loans. Cesar Chavez, the U.S. labor leader and champion of farm worker rights, is accused of raping and abusing girls and women, including one of his most prominent organizing partners, according to a New York Times investigation. Chavez, who died in 1993, rose to prominence as a union leader for farm workers. In response to the allegations, California has moved to rename Cesar Chavez Day as Farm Workers Day, a proposal supported by Governor Gavin Newsom. California was the first state to designate Chavez's birthday as a holiday back in 2000. The Justice Department is suing Harvard University over its alleged failure to protect Jewish and Israeli students from anti-Semitism. The suit seeks to freeze existing grants and recover billions in federal funding. Harvard receives more than $2.6 billion in federal grants annually. It is the latest escalation in a prolonged battle between the Trump administration and the university, which has accused the administration of using anti-Semitism as a pretext to cut its funding. Inside the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump met with Japan's Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi. In an awkward exchange, a Japanese reporter asked why Japan wasn't informed before the US carried out attacks on Iran. We didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? The president joked. There was a cautious laughter before the room went quiet. The prime minister was not amused. In a historic March Madness moment, Howard University's men's basketball team won their first ever NCAA tournament game, defeating UMBC 86-83 in the first four. The only HBCU in this year's tournament, they went on to face number 1 seed Michigan. And while they didn't advance, we were proud to cheer them on. The women's team also made history, earning the program's highest ever seed as a number 14 seed. Go Bison. If you caught last week's Sunday brunch, you know we were rooting for everyone Black and everything Sinners. While most of our Oscar predictions were correct, we were not only excited to see Michael B. Jordan accept his much-deserved award for Best Actor, we were also proud to watch Autumn Durald Arkapaw become the first woman and first Black person to win Best Cinematography. And that's all for this week. Until next time, take care of yourself.